What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. So today I want to talk about seeking out discomfort, but first I thought today we would use a tripod, so I'll see you there. And here we are. So I think it's very important to seek out things that scare you, that make you uncomfortable, that you generally wouldn't do but you should do, or just things that kind of scare you in general. Because I think on the other side of that, not only are some of the greatest things in life, I think by doing the things that you're scared of, especially the ones that you should be doing, whether something simple or something bigger, I think by doing it you build a callus to it. So as someone, David Goggins, he talks about this a lot. He does it with working out, with running, and doing like discipline stuff. He talks about the more you do it, the more you do something like going to the gym and building calluses on your hands, the more you do something you don't want to do, you build that callus in your mind. So I think same thing applies here, just doing things that make you uncomfortable, that you're kind of scared to do. Once you kind of just do them again and again, like maybe you're introverted or you don't really do well with social communication or talk with others just on the street or whatever, go walk on the street and just, when you see someone, say something a little and work up on building up that rejections and just getting rejected. And sometimes people say something back, but people are usually in their own world, so never take that personally if someone kind of brushes you off, whatever. But I think even in the rejections, it's very good, because even if you don't make it, or even if you get rejected, excuse me, you still have the courage to go do whatever the thing is. And I think that is much more respectable than just never having done it, right? So, especially if it's something you really want to do, and you're just scared to do it, I think going, even if you do it and you get rejected, go and ask a girl out, or go and applying for that job, or moving to that new city, or whatever it is, doing that thing that makes you uncomfortable, that you should do, that you really want to do, that you just freeze, that you go to do it and you just freeze and you don't do it. I think just getting rid of that fear of failure and changing it to, okay, even if I do get rejected, or even if I don't get accepted to that, or whatever it is, that's still a whole lot better than just not trying at all, right? So I think life is short, and I've said this a million times in these videos, but life is short, and especially for doing things like putting yourself out there, I think that's where some of the best things in the world are. And of course, I'm guilty of it myself as well. There's certain things that I'm working on that, give me anxiety or whatever, that just gotta push through and just say, okay, well, doing this matters to me more than what may happen if I do it and it fails. And something that's also helped me is kind of keeping a 10-year mindset on it, because breaking that down a little bit, say you want to, go ask a girl out or something. You want to move to a new city, or you want to get that new job. Say you never take action on that. You always hesitate. You always just hold back. You never go for it. You always just let that barrier, that Jersey barrier, hold you back from doing it. Think, how is that going to feel 10 years from now, when you're in the exact same position as you are now, and you think back, okay, well, 10 years ago I could have done it, but I was just a little scared, and I never wanted to push past that, so I just let that hold me back. And now 10 years later, I'm in the exact spot, because I can promise you nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you want difference, if you want something different in your life, different results, you have to put in different input. If you want a different output, you gotta put in different input. It's simple equation. You're not gonna put an apple in a bag and eventually it's gonna turn out to be an orange. You gotta change what you're putting in it if you want to get something different out of it. If that makes sense. It's fruit, I guess, whatever. But you get the point. It's just you gotta push past it. Like something, even just little things, little wins. Like it doesn't have to be huge things at first. Like, so I'll give you an example. Something like wearing tank tops like this for me was something I never really done, and because of that, it was a little bit more of an uncomfortable thing for me to go out in public wearing something like this. But I just did it. Didn't really think about it. Just did it, and it was fine. And now it's just no big deal. So it's like you build that callus to it. Like if I had just said, okay, well, I don't want to do that, I'm kind of nervous to do that, and I just didn't, then that always would have been a Jersey barrier that always would have held me back, versus me just saying, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And now it's not even something I think about. So just little things like that callus for me was built. I built that up and said, okay, well, that's not scary anymore. I did that, and or I did that. I asked out that person, and or a guy, if you're a girl watching this, and I got rejected, but hey, I'm still alive, and everything's the exact same, and I'm still fine. Worst comes to worst, you're in the exact same position you were in before. What's the upside of that? Potentially someone who changes your life. Like, I think it's a pretty good trade-off for 30 seconds of courage, or just jumping in, going for it, and just doing it. So I think that's pretty important, though, just as a general ideology of life, just saying, okay, well, this thing scares me, that's what we're doing now. So it's not like, okay, well, this thing scares me, this thing, I don't want to do this, so let me avoid it. I think switching that mindset from, okay, I don't want to do this, so I'm not doing it, to I don't want to do this, so I'm doing it because I don't want to do it, because it's something that scares me. And that doesn't mean just like anything, like any bad thing you don't want to do, you just like do automatically. It's not really the point, but just like stuff that is right to do. Like you know inside if there's something that you should do. Like if you're in a career that you don't like, and the right move is to take the riskier opportunity, take the entrepreneurial path, and saying, okay, well, this is very scary to jump into. It's got a lot of non-guarantees in terms of stability. I mean, nothing's really that stable in life. We're on a giant floating rock. I mean, as stable as you can think you are, you can get fired from any job. So, putting that perspective like that helps as well. But just thinking like, okay, well, that's scary. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a longer term time building it up, and then much bigger reward later. But that goes back to the risk to reward. You spend a little bit of time building it up early, and you pay the huge rewards out of it for the rest of your life, or you live letting fear having controlled you your whole life, and you live in doing the same thing, living the same life for 80 years or whatever you live to, and yeah, you could have a good life doing that, but the better life was taking that risk that you just never could get over and just do. I think that is a very limited way to live, and me personally, I'm not gonna do it like that. But of course, life is yours. Your life is yours, and live however you'd like. But I think if you're willing to take the leap, you're willing to jump, you're willing to look stupid, you're willing to look like a beginner, you're willing to fail, you're willing to get rejected, you're willing to try over and over again without losing any type of ability to keep going. I think once you reach that point, you'll then realize what I'm saying is very important in terms of just going for it, because it is short, and once you get over that fear of just whatever it is, you'll realize on the other side of those fears are just the greatest things in life that you could ever imagine. And just not experiencing those on this short journey is just, I think, a little bit selfish towards yourself, because you're holding all that back from you being able to experience these great things. And all it takes is just a little bit of courage. It might only take 1 minute, 30 seconds of courage to change the entire trajectory of your life. Just saying, okay, well, let me attack this head on. This is a scary thing. This is uncomfortable for me. Let me attack it. And I promise you, you will not regret the things that you did nearly as much ever as the things that you didn't do. So, and honestly, I would say you probably not even going to regret any of the things you did. I mean, there could be things that you did wrong, 100%, but just doing, that's life. And the regret comes in mainly. You look at people on their deathbeds, the regret comes in from the things that they didn't do. Just saying, well, I wish I did that, or I wish I did that instead of this, or I wish I worked less, or I wish I took that opportunity, or I wish I did this. So just don't be that person. Don't be that 90-year-old person just saying like, I wish I did that when I was 25 or 35 or whatever. I wish I took that opportunity, but it's too late now. And now, you die an old person just with a mind full of regrets and just a life full of possibilities because you never took those risks and you never took those paths of less certainty and more struggles now and more success later. You never took that path. You just took what you thought you were safe was safe. You stay within your fears. You stay within your limits that you placed upon yourself, and you just lived a safe, comfortable life, and you never really lived. I think that's honestly more of a scarier feeling than going for something and just failing. Because even in the failures, which I don't think there's no such thing as failure. As long as you're trying, there's no such thing as failure. But even in the failures, quote unquote, whatever, you're gonna find something so much better than if you just never went for it at all. You're gonna find something so much better and something greater than you could ever even imagine. Maybe something better than even what you set out to get in the first place. Life could direct you and say, okay, well, this is what you were thinking was as good as it can get, but that was only the beginning, and it's actually this much better, and it just runs and runs, and you're alive, you're living, and that's the point of this whole thing, just to live a little more, and I'm working on that myself too, so I'm not off the hook for it, but I want to make sure you guys all stay accountable for yourself and really want it, because no one can want it more than you. If you want it, you'll make it happen, but if you don't, you just find an excuse, and through the excuses the work will just never get done, and that'll just be a repetitive cycle until you decide to step out of it. And that's just the way it goes, and I felt that too. I've gone through that too, and that's why I can kind of speak on this, because speaking from experience, I'm not just talking about it. I've been through that cycle where it's like, okay, well, I've done this, and then same thing happens, and the same thing happens, the same thing happens, and you got to break that cycle. Just rip right through it, live, and just do it. Just be alive, live. Make sure to live in this life. It is finite. It is very short, and it is meant to be lived. It's about being bold, living life, going for it, just living a little too, just a little, or a lot if you're ready for it. But I think that's gonna wrap us up for today. Just ran a little bit longer, but this is something that I am passionate about, something that's applicable to my life, especially currently. So something I can speak on and something I am passionate about. So I want to see all you guys do well, live your life, be happy, enjoy life. It's not that serious. It's not nothing as crazy as you make it seem. It's just life. Don't take it too serious. Have a little fun. Enjoy yourself. Get some work done. Love your people around you. Spread some positivity and spread some of that to yourself too. So appreciate you guys for coming. Remember to always live for the now. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.